The wrong realtor can cost you tens of thousands of dollars. Most homeowners don't realize it until it's too late. Now, before you think this is going to be a video where I'm criticizing other real estate agents, that's not my goal. My goal is to help homeowners understand something that I believe has become very important in today's marketplace because our market has changed. And the truth is, not every realtor is equipped to help sellers navigate it successfully. Today, I want to pull back the curtain and show you exactly what should be happening behind the scenes when your home is listed for sale. And more importantly, what happens when it isn't. For years, homes practically sold themselves. Inventory was low, interest rates were low, buyer demand was extremely high, and a home could hit the market on Thursday and have multiple offers come Monday. In that environment, many agents never had to become great marketers. They never had to become great negotiators. They never had to become great strategists. The market did most the heavy lifting. Today's market is very different. Buyers are more selective. Housing inventory has increased. Days on market also has increased. Price reductions have become more common and competition is stronger. And strategy matters more than it has in many years. One of the biggest mistakes I see pricing a home based on hope instead of reality. Every homeowner wants the highest possible price, and they should, but the goal isn't the highest list price. The goal is the highest net proceeds. Those are not always the same thing. In fact, many times they're the exact opposite. When a property is overpriced from day one, buyers will notice. Traffic slows, showings decline, the listing becomes stale. Then price reductions start. And many sellers ultimately sell for less than they could have if the home had been positioned properly from the beginning. Here's a simple rule of thumb. If a property hits the market and receives absolutely no showings, we say that's approximately around 10% overpriced. If buyers are touring your property but nobody's writing an offer, oftentimes you're about 5% overpriced. Now, every home is different. Every market is different, but these patterns do show up again and again. Many homeowners believe the hard work is finished once the for sale sign goes in the front yard. In reality, the work is just beginning. The strategy should be evolving every single week. Every Tuesday, I'm personally calling my sellers with traffic report reviews. How many showings have occurred? What did those buyers say feedback-wise? How many people attended our open house? What new listings entered the marketplace? What listings have gone pending? What listings have reduced their price? What is our competition doing? And most importantly, whether our strategy needs to be adjusted because the market is moving, whether we pay attention to it or not. And sellers deserve to know exactly where they stand. Now let's talk about something that frankly blows my mind. Recently, I toured multiple different homes with multiple different active buyers. Before touring those homes, I called the listing agents. No answer. So I leave a voicemail. No return call. That's fine. Maybe they're busy. That stuff does happen. But here's what surprised me. After showing the property, still nothing. No phone call, no text message, no follow-up. No questions, no attempt to understand what my buyers thought of their listing, no effort to identify objections, absolutely nothing. Think about that for a moment. My buyers took the time to schedule a showing. We took the time to drive to the property. We walked through their listing, evaluate whether it might work for my client's family, and nobody follows up. Can you imagine how many opportunities are potentially lost this way? Because sometimes buyers don't hate the house. Sometimes they have questions. Sometimes maybe they have some concerns, or sometimes they just simply need help connecting the dots. Many transactions happen because somebody stayed engaged long enough to solve a problem. The listing agent's job isn't to sit back and wait for offers to come in. Listing agent's job is to create opportunities. Another conversation I have regularly goes something like this. Nick, the house down the street hasn't sold. Should I be concerned? Well, maybe not, because here's what many sellers don't realize. When I evaluate comparable properties, I'm not just evaluating that house. I'm evaluating how that property is being represented. I'm evaluating the list strategy for that property, the marketing, the pricing, the follow-up, the overall listing management, because if a home is being poorly managed, it may not be a reliable indicator of what your home is actually worth. The performance of the listing agent can absolutely influence the outcome of that sale. That's why two very similar homes can have dramatically different results. One of the most common questions sellers ask is, why shouldn't I just hire the cheapest agent? Honestly, it's a fair question, but I don't think it's the wrong question. I just think there's a better question. Which agent gives me the highest probability for maximizing my net proceeds? Because you're not hiring someone to put a for sale sign in your yard. There are those agents. You're hiring someone to help you navigate one of the largest financial transactions of your life. Pricing, strategy, marketing strategy, buyer psychology, negotiation, problem solving, communication, risk management. That's all part of the job. And if a seller saves a little bit of money on commission but loses substantially more on a pricing mistake, weak negotiations, poor communication, or a lack of follow-up, did they actually save money, or did that decision cost them money? The reality is simple. Homes don't sell because they're listed for sale. Homes sell because they're properly prepared, properly priced, properly marketed, properly managed, and properly negotiated. The realtor you hire does matter, not because realtors are magicians, not because realtors control the marketplace, but because strategy matters, execution matters. And in today's market, all the details do matter. But here's the interesting part. Everything we discussed today happens before you even accept an offer. And believe it or not, getting under contract is often the easy part. Getting from pending to close is where many transactions fall apart. Home inspection, appraisal, financing issues, buyer emotions, unexpected surprises, negotiations. That's where experienced listing agents often earn their commission. So next week, I'm going to pull back the curtain again and show you what really happens after a seller accepts an offer on the sale of their home. Title of that video, Getting Under Contract is step one. Getting across the finish line is another story. You won't want to miss it. I'm Nick Casper with Windermere Real Estate in Kirkland, Washington. If you're considering selling and would like a clear understanding of your home's value, your competition, and the strategy I'd recommend in today's marketplace, I'd be more than happy to help. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you on the next one.